the Asia Pacific Summer Playoffs, the championship match. Let's see what you got.
And we are ready to go with the finals of the Asia Pacific playoffs. This is going to be absolutely awesome. It's Cocosasa versus Surrender. And it's actually going to be a rematch from round 7. Surrender 3-0'd Cocosasa. Is it going to happen again?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for sure, because as with 100% of the players in this tournament, he does have that Jade Druid. And alongside that, it's one of the, I believe, 86% of players that also has Highlander Priest alongside that. And I loved the point that Admirable and TJ were making just going into this about this lineup from Cocosasa is kind of genius, because it's not only got the target on the Jade Druid's back, it's also that soft target towards the Highlander Priest as well. You know, all of his decks do very similar things against Highlander Priest as they do against Jade Druid. So Surrender coming out of that last one with a 3-0 is incredibly impressive if that was the result.
Yeah, he actually won the Druid versus Mage matchup as well in the last game of the 3-0. He did get his Pirate Warrior banned, not too much of a surprise. From Cocosasa with his lineup, and Druid was banned from Cocosasa on Surrender's side. So we'll see if history repeats itself and Surrender can take a double victory here to win this championship. The players are ready to go. We're ready to go. Let's find out who's going to be the champion for the Asia Pacific region. Cocosasa kicking it off on the Priest, on the Mage. Which really wants to play that Mage. And Surrender on the Paladin. Obsidian statue. Ugh. Double reasons for not wanting a 9-drop in your opening hand.
Yep, any minion you get in your hand before turn 4 that isn't called Barnes is just a big whiff for you with this big Priest deck. But remember, the big job has already been done by both of these players, as well as Wuya and Tom60229. Those are the 4 qualifiers, reached the semi-final stage of this, and by right went through to the championship. And now this is a battle of our final 2 to be able to call yourself the APAC champion, which of course carries a huge amount of prestige, huge amount of pride with it.
Yeah, especially because both players are from South Korea as well. You know, South Korea is basically the mecca of esports to a large extent. It's where esports was born, and they take their games very, very seriously, and take the country's pride very seriously as well. As this is something that has been just displayed throughout all of games, especially Blizzard games, and we'll see how it goes for these players now. Who is going to be number 1? The Asia Pacific region. Surrender not got a bad opening at all. Can go double 2-drop with the Hydrologist onto Rockpool, and then hopefully for him snowball from there. Exactly what he wants to do. Whereas Cocosasa, it's all about answers for him. He needs to answer whatever Surrender wants to push early on.
Yeah, I wonder how much he's thinking of slow playing just a little bit so he can line up Coin Corpse Taker into Blessing of Kings. Think about pushing for 14 with that curve as well off the Wind Fury. Definitely a possibility, but of course, how much damage do you miss if you don't get that early 3-3 chipping away?
Also as well, this is a big what if, but what if your opponent does go Barnes into Obsidian Statue or summons the Obsidian Statue a bit later, and then, yeah, you kill it, but then it just kills you Wind Fury Corpse Taker anyway. You know, it's actually a tough call. It looks like he is going to go for the quicker play of just going Murloc on Murloc. This gives him power turn 3s, like Wall Leader mainly, but even just another Murloc plus Secret, for example, is still a strong turn 3. Cocosasa gonna just draw the Barnes for a start, which is absolutely huge, and is gonna get the Pain, which is very, very nice as well. Surrender, current 8-1 score. So impressive in any tournament this long, with this many matches, to have only dropped 1 series. Absolutely nuts. Second Shadow Visions. Looking at Essence here. To go a bit further, just in case Barnes gets the Ysera. Guess not. Oh, he does have Horror.
He has Horror
already.
Yeah,
sorry, he does have Horror. This looks way better.
And this is something you will see from Big Priest a lot, which is using removal imperfectly. There was a very, very good example of this in the Hearthstone Global Games finals, where Czech Republic were playing Big Priest. and they Shadow Word pained one half of a Nuzzo's First Mate patches on turn 2, and then did the same to the other half on turn 3. And they were ridiculed for that play by a large portion of the viewers.
Not by us.
Not by us, because we understand what's going on, which is once you get to turn 4, you're not really concerned too much with removal anymore. You're concerned with jamming your barns and then reviving huge idiots every single turn.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Cocosasa wants to do right now. And if he can make one less Murloc, one less minion on the board for his opponent, yeah, he's probably going to do it.
Yeah.
Especially because, you know, he saves some damage now. Who knows, that extra damage might add up later on to make a big difference. And also, he's got Pint-Sized Potion Horror. That pretty much just clears a Murloc Paladin board unless there's Tyrion chilling on there.
Right. All right, let's go. One statue, Ysera, Lich King, Yasharaj are the minions left in the deck. All right.
Obsidian. There is no Resurrect, though.
Nope, not just yet. He has to try the Blessing of Kings Gambit, right? He just has to trade this out, lose his board, play the Corpse Taker, hope there's no Shadow Word Pain.
Doesn't even have Wind Fury anymore, though.
That's a great point. Yeah, only one
like,
Storm
that
Watcher.
hurts.
That is a huge problem.
Maybe you play 2 Storm Watchers in the deck, who knows?
Again, we were talking about Czech Republic. They did play double Storm Watcher in their version of Paladin. They were insistent on landing that Wind Fury every single time. Whew.
Okay.
Speaking of big idiots, there's a Bone Mare.
Man, he's got feelings too. Maybe he feels just like I did when you were all taking the mick out of me. Man, I wasn't even on stage to defend myself. Not that there's much defense.
Raven was having a nap earlier, and we actually continued to mock him even while he was sleeping.
I'm just that good. I can take it awake and...
Stop! No, stop that lie. Do not finish that sentence.
That's why I paused for a second.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you guys mocking me, of course. Second Obsidian statue. These are all generated statues, so it's not like they're from the deck. But still, gonna go a long way in terms of just removing minions here.
Options.
And even as a 5/5, it might not seem like a huge deal, but the fact that every time one of these is rezzed, it kills a minion as well, it just stops the flow from Surrender, right? You just can't get anything going and build a board up. And currently, Cocosasa sitting kind of pretty on 25 health. Never mind any potential healing that's in the deck.
Yeah, the assassination effect that comes with the Death Rattle is, for me, the most frustrating part of dealing with Obsidian Statue. You know, Lifesteal is, of course, a huge bonus. It helps the priest stabilize so easily. But life gain can be mitigated if you're able to stick a board, right? You know, it's why classically standalone healing cards like your Holy Lights, your Healing Touches, etc., they haven't been played because they don't solve the problem, which is you took too much damage because you're behind on the board. Obsidian Statue just does both in one. It's so painful to deal with.
Yeah, let's see where it's going to go. Hydrologist goes down. So that's actually the best target for Surrender here that can die. Hello, Bone Mare, though.
The Servitude is now there as well.
The priest is pretty good when you drop hands on 4.
Only 2 minions have died.
Blessing the Kings on Stonewatcher, though.
Cocosasa wants, he can deal with the big threat of the Stormwatcher by dropping down the Sunky Batarian instead.
Easy. Oh, close.
I dream of a world.
Show me Essence instead, so he is opening himself up to this a little bit.
Just 16 damage.
Yeah.
19 with the weapon swing.
I beg to differ. This is 27. That's a crazed alchemist.
Yeah, he's got the mana.
Oh my, Raven, that Spike Ridge steed. That's 31.
Surrender's just laughing to himself.
Cocosasa, what have you done?
You love my new
GG. Cocosasa's just realised. He's like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, and
What
that,
did you do, my friend? You had such a good plan.
in the blink of an eye and a giggle from Surrender, he's like, oh yes, back-ridged, Alchemist, game, as long as that wasn't exactly Noble Sacrifice, he wins. Who's playing the big deck now?
Why would you not tar him? That thing is just gonna murder you. Get rid of it. You have so much time to play your resurrection effects and get your Sarahs out on the board afterwards.
Okay, so I'll go in defense for Cocosasa here.
I mean, go ahead.
He's already qualified.
No,
No, wait.
good enough.
He's already qualified,
all right.
and he genuinely looked surprised, and I think he just forgot about Alchemist. To be completely honest.
So here is a real point.
Whoa, I make real points.
Cocosasa. Sorry, that was kind of harsh. Cocosasa played the second semi-final, right? The most recent semi-final. There is a prerogative that is given to that player to take a 15-minute break if they want to familiarize themselves with the deck list, make sure they have everything in mind.
Also, just take a minute.
Exactly. It appears that Cocosasa did not elect to take that advantage if he wanted it, so he may not have had time, as you said, to look at the deck list, get that crazed alchemist lodged in his mind, but let's take nothing away from it. That is a huge error.
It really is.
That is a massive mistake.
It really is, yeah. And because the problem was he was so far ahead that killing the Stormwatcher didn't slow him down, right? It wasn't even a problem at that point. He even just was edging towards just playing a statue from hand, which is just as good at that point as winning anyway.
Right. So the concern was, from his perspective as well, that when he Tarims and then trades off the minion, he's then diluting his resurrection pool. Like if the Tarim dies, that's then the fourth minion that goes into the pool, so he's not guaranteed to get something big back, etc. But come on.
I mean,
you are winning that game.
I'm all for the outcome because I thought it was hilarious.
It was amazing.
I guess Cocosasa's got this. Oh, no, never mind. Surrender OTK'd. Go.
Yeah.
Stormwatcher. Good card. Now we're going to go into game number 2, though. Cocosasa going into the Quest Mage. I feel like every time Cocosasa cues Quest Mage, he's just whispered to his opponent, you have to cue Druid now. I'm pretty sure that's all we've seen from this deck.
This is a less than rapid start, shall we say, from the Jade Druid. It will pick up very quickly here. Jade Blossom into Aya coming out very soon afterwards. Malfurion can follow up for a bit of extra pressure with the hero power as well, but it's not as explosive as some of the starts we have seen throughout this tournament.
Yeah, really not. Jade's here from Surrender. Just going to start stacking up as well as the ramp. Whereas Cocosasa, as we mentioned in the previous series we cast of Coco, is that he's really just almost single-mindedly focused on his own plan here. Just cycling through his deck as quickly as possible and getting to that win condition. And almost ignoring what Surrender's going to do here. Just like Innovate Fandral. Malfurion.
What to do?
Just create the taunts if you're on. Just block these minions out and then just start getting them for 3 every turn. Guess Innovate Aya into Jade Eyes wasn't terrible either.
It's a little bit more pressure, but and it's slightly more annoying for your curve, right? Like Innovate Malfurion into Aya is just a smoother curve
Yeah,
than
exactly.
going.
It slows next turn down, right?
Right. If you go Innovate Aya Jade Idol, then what's your 6? You're playing Spreading Plague for a 1/5.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
in that case, get 2 1/5s right now, right? If you're going to have a bad turn that involves just summoning 1/5s, you might as well do it the other way around.
Yep.
Surrender disagrees.
Okay.
Golems are a girl's best friend.
Maybe just like, let's get the Jade train rolling.
Trust your deck.
I might draw a Jade
Yeah.
card next turn, and then I can continue the pressure. Then I play Malfurion and go.
Yeah, this is just trusting his deck. He's realizing he's in a bad matchup, and he's saying, you know, Malfurion's too slow in this spot. I'm just going to go Aya, and a lot of the time, you know, there's Jade Spirits, there's Jade Behemoths, there's more Jade Blossoms, Jade Idols, etc. in my deck that I can just dump out.
Yeah. See if he gets one. No Oracle this turn from Coco by the looks of things. So he's not going to help Surrender out with this next turn. He's all on his own. Who's to make him drop?
It's a turn. It's what matters.
It's something. Right?
Yes.
It's not a 1/5 for 5.
Exactly.
And even the Jade's getting cleared. He still hits him for 4. So it's not too bad at all. Starting to chip that damage in. Now we might see the cold light. Or just maybe a bit of a slower turn from Coco and just have Ice Block down.
It looks like Cold Light Oracle turn to me. This is about the least damage you are going to take for spending your turn playing a Cold Light Oracle, so might as well do it here. It'll get you more likely through to the freezes that you need to end the game. He's going to coin out Ice Block as well to get that done. Of course, the natural advantage from Quest Mage for being on the coin to start with, the coin is treated as a spell that does not start in your deck, which, to my mind, depends on your definition of the word start.
It's not in your 30 cards.
No, but
Can't play 31 card deck, so it's against the rules.
when the game starts, it's in your hand.
It's not in your deck, though.
That's very true.
Oh, there's 3 Apprentices already. See the Bennett of Simulacrum. So now there's only 1 Molten Reflection required.
Yes.
The magical 4. Now this is the benefit of just having Malfurion available. You can just go. I think he does. I don't think you need Drake this turn.
My thoughts are plain.
I actually think Malfurion into Jade Idol hero power is fine here. You actually just do want Jades. Outside of what, swipe?
Yep.
I think if you're not going to cycle Jades, and you put 3/5 on the board. If you're not
You
going
mean
to cycle...
Fandral into Jade Idol, right?
Is that not what I said?
So far this game, you have called Malfurion Fandral and Fandral Malfurion.
Same
You're having
thing,
a
mate.
bit of an identity
They're both
crisis
elves.
right now.
It's
Okay.
fine.
All right.
But you get what I'm saying.
I do.
It's gonna go for it.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't about whether or not you go Infinite Jade Idol. Infinite Jade Idol does not matter a single bit in this matchup. It's just about your deck density and whether you want to draw Jade Idols or whether you want to draw other
Yeah,
more
of
important
course.
cards.
I'm just wondering how many more important cards there are.
No, I'm kind of with
Because
you,
I
honestly.
think there's just swipes, right? It's
Right.
swipes and Jades. I think that's all you're after.
Yeah, I think a
Double
lot...
check this deck to make sure there's nothing sneaky. Spellbreaker.
Spellbreaker is
Yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah.
Spellbreaker and the swipes, like when you combine those, that's probably enough to convince you. Like, you're not going to be short of board pressure. And a lot of that is down to the lack of Alexstrasza. If there's an Alexstrasza in your opponent's deck, you need to make sure your hand has Jade pressure in it all the time, because you can't let the board go empty after a situation like this, and then they Alex themselves, right? That's potentially a game-losing situation. Once you've lowered the mage significantly when there's no Alexstrasza, then drawing more Jades for pressure doesn't matter anymore. You just need damage from hand.
Look at this as well. Good kill turn.
Yep.
That was a great Wrath. Especially with the Fandral already down.
Yep. Battling Book can be a big deal here. Ooh. How was your Cone of Cold positioning,
Not bad.
Surrender?
It's not bad.
It's decent.
Would like Malfurion between the taunts be the only better option there?
Fandral!
Oh god, yeah, it's because I'm just looking at the Malfurion artwork. I love this new Malfurion. Can proc this turn. Gonna go for it.
No reason not to. Just
Yep.
what the pause there is just where he's double checking his sequencing, making sure he does it in the most efficient way possible.
Yeah, couldn't proc at 1, 2. Definitely not bad. You have got a 3 damage hero power.
An incredible discovery.
Oh. That's 4 Sorcerer's Apprentice.
It is.
Is it enough spells though?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mana choke because he had to play the Arcanologist first to get it out of his hand and bank on the Sorcerer's Apprentice, but now you're going to see one of those potential finishes where Sorcerer's Apprentice discounts the Kabbalist Tome and allows you to finish your quest due to how cheap the rest of your spells are at that point.
Simulacrum just picks one, right? If the mana cost's equal.
Yes.
Yeah, it just like 50/50 is one.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't really take that risk in a deck this precise. You need that exact combo. Surrender just doing what he can, proccing the block again quite easily. But now, look at Surrender's face. It just sums up exactly this turn. He's like, well, okay.
It's got to go.
Someday I'll be just like you.
One mana tome is going to finish the quest. Time Warp will appear. And Tinnitus hits the board. You can see the animations being thrown out at ridiculous speed. Like, we have a serious amount of desync here as the animations are happening before the actual turn animations.
I'm pretty sure Fireball's have already been cast at phase.
Yeah, in real time, Surrender is probably already dead, but we have to watch this catch up. Surrender,
he's already dead.
Surrender looks like he's going to let it rock as well for the style points, but here come the Fireballs, the infinite loop. And that's just what Quest Mage does. The series has been tied up. Cocosasa recovers from his potential huge blunder in game one, gets back on more stable footing with the Quest Mage, and exactly what we saw him do in the first series, get a very, very close game over the line against a Jade Druid.
Yeah, and also it means that this will not be a repeat of the first match these two players faced, where Surrender actually won the Jade Druid versus Quest Mage matchup. So it's going to be 1-1 now. And just quickly give a nod to the bans. They are the same as they were in their round 7 match, sorry. So Surrender's Pirate Warrior is gone. Cocosasa's Druid is gone. No true surprise there. So Surrender still has his Druid and his Priest to go up against Cocosasa's Priest and Paladin. Different list, though. Paladins are very similar, if not card for card. But the Priest, Big Priest versus Shadow Reaper Anduin, Highlander Priest. Who do you think is favoured in that one, if it was a mirror?
It's difficult because whenever you get a Big Priest matchup where your choice of minion has to be very specific, then you get into trouble a little bit. And you're playing double Obsidian Statue, which becomes your most likely minion to pull off your Barns or pull off any of your summoning effects. An Obsidian Statue doesn't really get the job done against Highlander Priest. You want Ysera, you want Yasharaj, and then Yasharaj into Lich King, for example. Like, you need those huge threats that actually kill the opponent hitting the board. So you're kind of just at the mercy of the lower end of the percentages of your draw at that point. So I would like to say that the Highlander Priest is slightly better.
Okay, well, maybe we'll see it, and maybe we won't, as the joy of conquest. But in game number 3, the finals here of the Asia Pacific Summer Playoffs, Cocosasa is going to go for the Murloc Paladin, and Surrender's locking in his Druid again. Pretty good opening hand there. Surrender has the choice between Doomsayer or Wild Growth for turn 2, depending on what he's feeling, what the opening is from Coco.
Doomsayer timing was extremely difficult against both Pirates and Murlocs. The nature of the tribal effects is that they just snowball very quickly, so if you don't Doomsayer at the earliest opportunity, you give your opponent the chance to develop more power onto the board and get to the position where their buff cards like Murloc War Leaders, South Sea Captains, so on and so forth, can challenge your Doomsayers much, much easier.
I do like this choice, though, because this Wild Growth on 2, although, as you said, the snowball effects can get a bit too much, this gives him Jade Spirit on 4, and maybe that's enough to battle with the board a little bit. If he then Doomsayers after 4, and still has the Jade Spirit and the Jade on the board to battle, like, kill one minion, great.
Well, since we only saw a Hero Power come out here from Coco, I like Hero Power Doomsayer now, because you get yourself back in a position where, War Leader isn't enough, Blessing of Kings isn't enough with the coin, that you're shutting down most of the viable options, and then you slam Jade Spirit on an empty board, which is even better.
Yeah, you don't really have a 5-play anyway.
Right.
Like, you're not just dropping his Hero Power in this matchup, more than likely. So Jade Spirit on 5 is almost as good as Jade Spirit on 4 regardless. And like you said, this guarantees no funny business to come out from Coco.
Especially because it is actually Jade Spirit on 4, in real time.
Yeah, true, because they ran. Oh, Druid, you silly goose.
Never mind.
Do you actually go poison here?
Yes. Yes, you do. There are, I believe, no copies of Consecrate in Cocosasa's deck, so the thing you're weak to is just him equipping a weapon and just hitting one this turn, hitting one next turn, and then developing minions after that.
Yeah, views.
Exactly.
The way I view these poisonous spiders, if he goes for it, by the way, I do mean regardless, actually, is that if one gets a good kill, probably pretty happy with that. You've gained 5 armor, you've got a great hero power, why not?
Look at this hard counter, though. The Rallying Blade draw. A 2/2 Divine Shield into killing one of the spiders with the Rallying Blade. The ooze is going to come down, but now the Divine Shield still challenges the spider.
I can play around it by Wrath and Hero Power. This is slow, though, right? Like, if your opponent does this as a counter to Poison, Poison's done its job.
Sure.
Double Corpse Taker in the hand here for Coco. And now the old Blessing of Kings and Spite Ridge.
Winter is here.
Coco does run Crazed Alchemist. I bet he won't forget he's got one in his deck.
That's interesting, the fact that he runs it.
Well, isn't almost everyone that's running Melot Paladin in this tournament running this list?
Yes,
It's
almost exactly,
everyone,
yeah.
right? Card for card.
Cocosasa is just going to struggle to get a grip on the board from this position. Like, just fighting through the Malfurion hero power is hard enough work at this point, let alone the Jade Flurry that's going to come out behind it.
Yeah, I do like Doomsay this turn as well.
Into double Jade Spirit as the follow-up. Yeah, why not?
Game over at that point, I think. Especially because the Jade goes 2/2/3/3. Surrender thinks his 3/2 is just good enough. That's why I like Doomsay.
Easy for you to say now, Raven. You gotta call these things out in advance.
Fine. Next time I will.
Okay.
I always try to call things in advance, but you're speaking all the time, so it always happens afterwards. And probably no one believes me.
Woe is Raven.
I know. It's tough to be me. But it's also great to be these guys. Cocosasa and Surrender. Still gonna go for just double Jade Spirit, I think. Unless he's confident that the Doomsayer gives him the best of both world option. He either builds a board if Doomsayer gets answered, or he has a board. He can hero power as well as Doomsayer this turn. Or he builds a board now and says, well, you know, maybe the Spreading Plague Doomsayer later on is a play that just wins me the game.
Speaking of game-winning plays, though, Finger into Spike Ridge is right up there. Nails the War Leader as well. Rockpool Hunter is now going to protect the War Leader from Wrath, or if there's any magical way for that hero power to get through to connect with it.
Yeah, he's making this as awkward as possible, mainly because of that Malfurion hero power. Malfurion hero power. Because of the Spellbreaker. They could come out here and just completely negate Finger, but still, look at this draw. Looking pretty good. Surrender just almost going toe-to-toe with this board.
Yeah,
Almost.
the almost is definitely the word, because there's a second War Leader hitting the board here, and Surrender has to trade everything he has into the Finger just to stop it from resummoning another set of Murlocs on the following turn.
I really think the Doomsayer to answer Finger was okay there, you know.
I do too.
Like,
I completely
Jade
agree
Spirit
with you.
Doomsayer?
I was jamming Doomsayer that turn 100%
You even get
of
hero
the time.
power. 3 damage or 3 armor, like, as well. Like, Surrender's kind of giving himself a bit of an uphill climb here. Hang on, how much is just War Leader Blessing of Kings?
So 4, 8, 13, 15. War Leader adds 1 for 16 and 3 more for 19. Blessing of Kings is 23.
I would put my opponent to 3.
Oh, wait, no, it's more than that. I only counted 1 each. 23 plus 3 more. It's exact lethal. It's 26.
There you go. You know, fast and new, it was lethal. I was just testing you.
I nerfed War Leader in my mind preemptively with a completely different nerf.
That's going to be my excuse for missing lethal for the rest of the future. Oh, just sneaks in the Protector. So, yeah, I can play that 1-1. I love it. Cocosasa goes 2-1 up versus Surrender. Again, I want everyone to wrap their heads around this. Rewind back a week and a half, even a week after the expansion. Jade Druid. It's all everyone's been talking about. Cocosasa could win a summer playoff targeting Jade Druid. if you asked anyone if that was possible, I don't think anyone would have said yes. I'm pretty sure no one would have said yes.
And honestly, he's done it in such a unique way. I talked about this in the previous series, but it's everyone in Europe who was trying to target Jade Druid tried to do it with aggressive decks. When you try and use aggressive decks against Jade Druid, yeah, you're 51% favored in a few matchups, up to 55 maybe. But the problem is that you just run into Innovate sometimes, and then that one time you run into Innovate, your whole tournament strategy falls apart. Cocosasa has just gone a little bit next level with it, and he's found these decks that just aren't good ladder decks because they lose a lot of other matchups. But against his predicted field, the meta that he theorized, they're the perfect answers. And that meta he theorized has come to perfect fruition. 100% Druid, 86% Priest. Those are the two decks that are the weakest to his lineup.
It's true tournament style, right? A tier 3 deck, a tier 4 deck can become tier 1 if you build your lineup well.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of like about the game, right? The best deck on ladder really may not be the best deck in a given tournament because, yeah, you could say Druids perform very well for everyone who's got to play at this tournament, but Coco could win this tournament by targeting Druid with these other decks. We'll see how it goes. Big Priest versus Druid. Let's see if we can take this one. I do like Surrender's option here of just saying, well, if I can't win with Druid, there's no point. He's targeting Druid. I'm just going to keep playing Druid until he beats it or until I get a win. Very well time management, I would say, from Surrender. Cocosasa does have access to the Eternal Servitude, missing Barnes, and has 2 minions in hand. If he draws another minion, this could get a little bit dicey. Ooh, second Eternal though. It's a lot of gas. If you can get a Barnes. Coin Jade Spirit's available. Innovate Nourish is also available. Kicking over something on the desk is also available. Subtle. Don't know if you guys heard that, but it's fine. We're all safe. It's a bit of a tough decision, this one.
Yeah, the curve isn't really smooth no matter what he does. Surrenders just has to slow play here. Now he's just going to shut his eyes, cross his fingers.
Cross his toes.
That tonight he hears no tails at all. Okay, once again, Coco is not the turn 4 Big Priest gamer, but he has got the turn 6.
And against Jade Druid that hasn't done anything yet, turn 6 is probably fine.
Yeah.
It's like... Also, as well, he's not hitting Ysera, which I think's a big deal. I actually don't know why you want Ysera in this deck. I still struggle to understand.
I agree with you.
I actually don't, like, no one's told me yet a matchup where Ysera's really good.
Priest.
Yeah, Highlander Priest, I guess.
Yeah. Which, again, as TJ and Admirable really brought to light, is kind of a soft part of his strategy, so maybe the Ysera does make sense.
Coco's saying, you know what? This is how I beat Jade Druid. I become the Jade Druid.
I mean, last series he finished it off with an ultimate infestation.
Yep.
Now he's just jamming Jade Idols. Let's see what he gets. There is the Barnes chance. He gets it. That ruins everything.
Even Surrender was like head in hands for a second. I think he's even knocked the webcam up a little bit. He might have knocked with his hand there, but even he was like, oh, okay, I feel you on this one. Getting Barnes from Shadow Essence is never great. And now we just get to stare at Surrender's eyes at the bottom of the camera.
So he had, what, a 25% chance that turn of hitting Barnes.
Yeah.
The other 3 minions were the Yashiraj, the 1 remaining Obsidian statue, and the Lich King. So 75% of the time, he starts going off with Eternal Servitudes this turn. Now he has no such luxury. He has to draw that Barnes itself to get a huge minion into play, or he has to pick up the other summon effect to try and have one more chance and still have a 25% chance of landing that Barnes.
Yeah, and off the back as well on this, Surrender drew so many cards. Well, so many, 5. 4 because he burned one actually, I think. But with that Ultimate Infestation, that Coco knows Surrender has juice now, right? He can go. He's got plenty of resources in hand to start piling on the pressure. And Coco is actually one whole additional turn away from just playing one of these 9-drops. Do you think he needs Ysera in to say Ysera Awakens? and then build on an empty board there.
I mean, you'd take some Emerald Drakes.
Yeah.
One of the two, just start slamming 7/6s every turn. That works also.
I mean, 2 turns time though. How many Jades does Surrender have? Just to beat him.
He burned his Ire.
That's true.
That's a really big deal.
And a Jade Blossom.
In terms of jamming the clock up as high as you possibly can. Ire is the card that does it the quickest.
Time waits for no one.
It's hard to race Ysera if you don't already have a ton of pressure on, quite honestly.
It's only 2/2/3/3.
Yep.
It's gonna be at 4/4 next time.
Are you trying to say that next turn he'll play an even larger man?
Yeah.
Mind Vision?
Huh.
How
That-
badly do you want that Doomsayer in your minion pool, Coco? You already have a Barnes in your minion pool.
So that's just Barnes Doomsayer so far.
Yes.
He just plays one more 9-drop. And then he knows he's always gonna get that one. Sure.
The sketchy part suddenly becomes, you know, when Emerald Drake comes into play, or if he now draws Barnes. Like, if the second Barnes goes in there, if an Emerald Drake or a Laughing Sister or something like that, like, this Doomsayer does gain him 7 for sure, but it is diluting the pool, it is a risk.
It really is. Also as well, Surrender. This does gain him 7 because Surrender can't afford to Spellbreaker this. There are much, much more important targets here, but look at this pressure now. This is what I was meaning. Like, Surrender has time to build a board that beats a Ysera, unless there's a Ysera Awakens to reset the board, then Cocosasa goes on top.
I dream and
Shadow
the
Reaper
world
Online?
trembles.
It's a good answer to the next refill, if you can deal with this one.
Oh boy.
I'm a prophet.
6, 9, 11, 14, 17 damage.
I'll rename Velen to Prophet Raven.
11, 14, 17, 22 with Ultimate Infestation. 22 with Swipe Hero Power.
I wonder.
If he deals 22, he plays around Ysera Awakens.
I'm trying to kill you, Sarah. This feels strange to me.
He's not necessarily killing it. He may just be cycling the Wrath. The rest of the damage
Yeah, sure,
may
you can
just
still
go
swipe,
face.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Still
fine. Yep.
playing around Ysera Awakens, puts him to 3 instead of 2, but that makes no difference. You're playing around heal into Awakens. Coco does have the greater healing potion, though, which has that beat right now.
Yeah.
And suddenly,
Just a cheeky potion as well, just to boop him. And just Sarah can hit face. Is this?
now he has a 2/3 in his minion revive pool.
I don't think he cares anymore.
I think he should care.
Nah. Shadow Reaper Anduin is gonna like clear a potential, you know, like JJJ turn, which is pretty big deal. Gains 5 armor too. Another Awaken. Oh my god. Obsidian Statue will negate some of the damage from, like, self-damage from Awakens. He can Awakens then Anduin as well, which just gains him net 0. In terms of his own health, I'm talking, of course. Next turn, if he's not under that much pressure, you can just double Eternal Servitude and see what he gets. Although you
A
serious.
Doomsayer and a 2/3.
Yeah, you see. Yeah. It's nothing else. Well, a Barnes.
And a Barnes, yeah.
It's double Barnes, double 3/4s, pressure. Yeah, I imagine we're going to see Obsidian Statue next turn.
What to do?
Mainly because the heal. Tricky game though.
Surrender just doesn't really have the refill here.
Could just play Malfurion and go spiders. Poisonous spiders.
True.
Because he's just seen Potion of Madness as well.
Yeah.
Probably about as safe as it's, or at least as likely to go off as possible.
which is 2 more. This means infestation.
Wait,
Go on.
should he have not gone spiders? This means Coco can put Ysera in the pool and double res. I know it's a stretch and he doesn't have to and he might not even want to, but it's the thing. At the moment, Coco's pool is terrible. No, he's just going to play statue, potion, get the free trade, keep Ysera cooking. Ysera's going to keep providing Coco with additional cards.
Yeah, just in case anyone's confused, Ysera lives because poisonous reads, has to deal damage.
Same with the
Same
Divine
as
Shield.
exactly the same scenario as Divine Shield. If a minion takes 0 damage, then poisonous does not activate.
Also, lifesteal, you need to do damage.
Yeah.
Learned that one the hard way with this as a weapon. It's like, oh, I heal for 5. Oh, okay, 0. I'm dead.
Your magic
There's the
shall
Spellbreaker.
not
That's why we didn't see it on the Doomsayer earlier on. Need to save it for one of those high threat targets.
Now what?
Smoke.
The end is coming!
This allows hero power, right?
Coming!
Yeah, I like this.
Death is eternal. My turn is not.
So now, Cocosasa has to hero power or gain armor. i.e. Anduin. If he wants to survive. Anduin, this isn't a bad turn for Anduin.
Yeah, it doesn't kill any Jades, doesn't relinquish any pressure in that sense, but Surrender's already showing you he doesn't have
I was gonna say-
huge amounts of Jade pressure in his hand right now.
Yeah. This isn't like some cheeky playing around Anduin turn from your opponent here. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure he just doesn't have Jades because he would have slammed them. They are big enough to slam and pile on the pressure. And he's going to go for it. I like it.
The light has betrayed me.
He's relying on next turn. Double Eternal Servitude plus hero power. Where did 3 Eternal Servitudes?
The first one was Shadow Vision.
Oh, that was early on, right?
Right at the opening of the game.
Surrender thinks, okay, 2 birds, 1 stone. I need to kill my opponent, I need to draw cards. I've got a card that does both.
Yep.
See how bad the pool is. Obsidian, wow, okay, that's a big deal. Again. Oh,
Tonight,
what?
a tale of wonder and magic.
Huh. Was that just wrong?
It's very confusing. I will start there. I think he's really just trying to hit that Yasharaj as hard as he can, or like Lich King. He wants something huge that he can actually pressure with, as opposed to just 4 attack minions.
Yeah. That's a big risk, though.
My thoughts are plagued.
You may think very quickly. Oh, it's lethal. You can trade. Wrath. Trade. Swipe. Hero power. You can't.
A lot of trading
got
involved in
lifesteal.
that, yeah.
Death
Crucially, you can only do 7 with the
Yeah.
Wrath and Swipe hitting the Obsidian statue, which means a melee attack has to go into it, meaning that lifesteal will activate and that prevents any lethal.
There's a lot of Jade refill now. I say a lot. Board's not full, but minions are pretty big.
Yeah.
And just the damage.
Gonna push again.
I like it. Swipe hero power ends the game next turn as well.
I dream
Uh-oh.
and the
And here's the punishes. Here is the punishes coming to
Uh-oh.
fruition. The Doomsayer and the 2/3 in his paw means he whiffs on statue twice that turn, and now he dies. You said he didn't care about it, Raven. I said he should. It may have just cost him a championship here.
That is rough. I'll give you that one.
I'm almost out of cards.
I actually thought he was going to go for statue there. And just try and buy time till Yasharaj, but he didn't go for it. He went for the double Eternal, and lost twice with it, basically, and it was unlikely. It was likely that he had that kind of role because it was so diluted. Put extra minions in there. He chose to put a 2/3 in the pool instead of just attacking with Ysera.
Yes.
So he chose 4 damage.
Yes.
Over diluting his pool.
Correct.
Which is, look at it one way, look at the other. I didn't think it would matter too much, but when you add the Doomsayer in as well, it starts to.
The difference between
a bit too diluted.
The difference between the 3rd minion in your resurrection pool and the 4th minion is massive. It's infinite. It introduces a margin of error that goes from 0% to an actual chance. Yeah. So that is a really big deal, and I honestly have to say that both of the games that Cocosasa has lost in this series, I feel like he's made a mess of those games.
Yep, I agree. I think that. Surrender, don't take anything away from Surrender. I think Surrender's played very well so far, but it definitely helps when Coco's not really playing to what we've seen from him a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I think he might be taking the foot off the gas a little bit in terms of his focus. Hard to blame him to a certain extent, because I think he's generally just, from what we've seen from him earlier, just joyful that he's going to championships.
Yeah, well, that foot has to go firmly back on the gas, Raven, because this is 2 games to 2 now. There is a game to focus on. It is game 5 in a championship deciding series. Yes, you come into this thinking that you just want to get top 4 and make your way through to the Summer Championships, but there is an APAC title on the line right here that you can win. I'm sure both of these players are looking to pick it up.
100%, and we are going to go down to the Priest Mirror we started discussing a couple of games ago.
Yeah.
We're going to see exactly what each player's got here. Cocosasa, as you can see, if you've seen this deck played at all, instantly has a good opening hand because of one singular card. His name is Barnes. There is tricky stuff, though. Barnes, and then your opponent, Potion Madnesses. That's a problem.
Yes, it is.
When I was playing this matchup earlier, I would actually hard mulligan for Potion Madness if I knew they were big priest, like 100%.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
There is Eternal Servitude as well. Most importantly, Barnes coined from 3 into Eternal Servitude if it's dealt with. Absolutely huge.
There is actually counterplay available as the Big Priest as well. You can actually choose to silence your summoned Barnes minion, so you pull it away from that Potion of Madness target. It does then take longer for it to die and then go into your resurrection pool
But
most of the time. But yeah, you get to keep it, and that's a big deal.
It's visions into visions. Didn't fancy anything too good there, so Coco's going to say, I'll roll that one again. And I imagine...
No, we're going to see him go again. He's looking for silence. That's all this is about.
Oh,
exactly what I said.
Yep.
Exactly. He's looking for silence. That's what the first Shadow Visions was about. That's why you saw him rebuy Shadow Visions into Shadow Visions, and that's why you're seeing him pass up Coin Barnes. He exactly wants to play around Potion of Madness.
There was even a worse case that he could wait one more turn, Barnes, Coin, Pain.
Yeah.
Like, worse, it's not good, but it's a worse case, and now... Ink, Silence, Surrender, hands together saying, please let me deal with this. Silence is going to make it a huge, huge problem here. Does have Raza on a 5. And Ysera, although annoying, isn't going to kill him quickly.
A 4/12 on turn 4 kills you pretty quickly.
I mean, it does 2 damage every turn.
No, it does 4 damage every turn, right?
You know exactly what I mean. Raza with the free heal for 2 every turn negates 2 damage. Yeah, Priest of the Feast, Power Word, Shield, Shadow Visions. Certainly can play this game for quite a while yet.
He can. The problem is there's another big minion coming in next turn with Shadow Essence.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm talking at this exact moment.
It's only fair, though. I've spent a good chunk of this series criticizing some of Coco's play. He's navigated those first 4 turns perfectly, to my mind. He understands this matchup for sure, which is no surprise, since we're suspecting that this matchup is one of the big ones he's been targeting.
Not gonna go for the Shadow Essence. Try and control the board a little bit. There's a second Eternal Servitude now gained from that other Shadow Vision, sorry.
Yeah, making sure he stays gassed up on threats. There is a good chunk of removal in Surrender's deck to be able to counteract this. You know, when the Lich Kings and Yashirajas start landing, there's Shadow Earth Deaths, there's Anduin that can snipe this out. Plus, with Raza already down, that hero power itself, when it gets to Anduin form, becomes a big problem. That can clear some surprisingly huge minions when it costs 0. So he's just trying to dupe those servitudes, making sure he has enough threats to keep going for a long time.
Lich King is only 3 cards played in a given turn.
Yeah.
So it's like 8 health sounds like a lot.
Right.
But if I said, if you play 3 cards this turn, the Lich King dies, you'd be like, oh, that's easy. Exactly.
Yeah, and even if if you go Yashiraj and then hit Lich King, for example, like, how's he going to kill? How's he going to kill both of these? Well, Dragonfire Potion plus 1 or 2 other cards, and you're getting the job done, right? Like,
3 cards.
Yeah.
Priest of Feast going to come down in combination with this Power Shield, being towards a Gnomish Inventor. So we can get a trade with Barnes this turn and still keep an additional minion. Maybe a slight nod to see if that Obsidian comes out. He wants as many minions on the board as possible.
Oh, that's not good news.
I dream in the world trend.
Ysera number 2. I mean, one way to win this game is to create an army of Yseras. One dies, he can summon 2.
Very true.
Laughing Sister, though, one of the most low-impact cards that Ysera can offer you.
Yeah, for sure.
It's no nightmare.
Pint-sized horror is actually a combination that will kill an army of Yseras. Worth thinking about.
It's true. It's very true.
That's the horror.
Do they ever silence this Ysera? Probably not. Tough call, though. A couple of nightmares later, and you're dead.
Yeah. Ysera is a slow burn on dying. Obsidian Statue's now pulled, which, unlike the Lich King, is actually a good draw, because Obsidian Statue is not something he wants to be pulling off summon effects. He wants Yashiraj whenever possible if that's happening, but Lich King is able to be played on curve very soon anyway, so he's going to be curving into big threats no matter what happens in the coming turns. And hey, Laughing Sister being able to just be played out as a 3/5 in this spot, and he has so much pressure on the opponent, even without hitting the big minions.
The man, army of Laughing Sisters.
Yeah, why
man,
not?
the Yseras. Anduin's going to have to come down just to kill the one Ysera here. Not going to get the big wins that he's capable of in this matchup. Going to get a win. This matchup really coming down to the wire now. Cocosasa does look like he is ahead. He's about to drop the Lich King if he wants. Or he can just create 2 Yseras. I like 2 Yseras. How do they ever die? I mean, outside of Potion. One card, well, a combo of 2 cards.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, they're almost immortal.
On the other hand, if you go Lich King, the clean answer is Shadow Earth Death, and then if it gets Shadow Earth Death, you then re-res 2 more 8/8s when Anduin is already gone. Then you can run into Dragonfire Potion, which is kind of a 2-card sequence either way.
This gives you 2 cards as well, though, right
For
now.
sure, yeah.
There's a dragon. There's a... You serious? The same card if it's duplicate? What? So far, 2 Laughing Sisters and 2 Emerald Drakes. No spells yet. Which outside of the 0-mana Sap, the Dream. Really looking for Nightmare Ysera Awakens, just to kill him.
Yeah.
Just to end the game now. There's what, 12, 15 damage on board? Only 6 required.
Does he have to ping his own Blood Mage here for pint-sized potion? I think that's where we're at, right? Yep. Has to be pint-sized potion.
It's not.
Great healing potion is not the one.
Probably gives him one more turn, though.
He's expecting to be dead. There is 15 on the board, and his opponent has 3 Ysera cards in his hand.
He could Lyra and silence one of the Yseras. He's just going to have to play the potion for 9. He's that afraid. And reasonably so.
With no healing here, though, Surrender is setting up an effective race of his own. It's actually coming right the way down to the wire. Mind Vision after the Greater Healing Potion has been used. Greater Healing Potion would have been the ideal Mind Vision in that spot to give Cocosasa the time.
Really would. It's Velen. Ooh. Do you have a Spirit Lash? Yeah?
Yes.
That heal for 6 is a big deal.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's enormous.
And oh no, I don't get to play a Drake. I mean, you have 3 Yseras on the board.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Without that Spirit Lash, he was only alive this turn through merit of there not being a Shadow Word Death target in play.
Yeah. And even then, Lyra.
Why are these all minions? What is happening this game?
Ysera's part of the nerfs. It's just not been announced yet.
Okay.
They thought Ysera was too strong. I kid, of course. It's just the way the game goes sometimes. Here comes Lyra. I don't know how much impact it can make now, though.
Still works.
Pint-sized
potion still works.
These Lyra draws would have to be pretty glorious here, and actually that is double elemental. That is the dream.
Yep. A pint-sized potion pull here still clears the board. A chain of the perfect answers could actually end the game in his favor right now as well. His hand's in the air.
Like, he just doesn't care.
He's chaining 0 mana Spirit Lashes.
He's doing it!
This would be an incredible end to this tournament if he can make this happen. We're just sat with bated breath waiting to see these Lyra outcomes, and finally he falls back. He doesn't quite get there. 1 or 2 spells short in the end. Had to kill his own Radiance, which limited himself as well.
But like we said, all minions from Coco. Look at how this game would have gone if he got Nightmares, if he got Ysera Awakens. The game just ends.
Yep.
It's not there. And multiple Spirit Lashes means that Surrender's just suddenly back up to full health again.
It's 11, and Cocosasa is reduced to being the one trading down the board, despite having the ridiculously sized minions in play.
Look at this. Purify, Shadow Madness, no targets. Now he can purify his minion.
This game is silly, Raven.
What, Hearthstone or this specific game?
This specific game.
So he can Soul Priest. You can Hero Power, Soul Priest, Hero Power.
Yes.
Death, Hero Power.
Yes.
That's 6.
Yes.
And he gets rid of Velen, which is the big
And he
hitter at the
can
moment.
Purify Orkanai Hero Power again.
This Hero Power doesn't do damage.
So this draw,
Pint size.
the pint size. So ping, Shadow Word Death, ping takes him to 3, and the pint-sized potion will
So he
take him
waits,
down
right?
to 1. So you can wait and use it as your board clear now, exactly.
Wow. What a game. Look at the hand. Cocosasa's playing a new class called Ysera. His hand is just full of Ysera cards and a couple of other minions. Absolutely insane. He finally got Ysera Awakens.
Yeah.
But too late.
It's uncastable.
I don't think there's anything he can do. And it's a tough position. Coco knows Surrender has X cards in hand. As long as 2 of them are castable, it's game. He's already puts out the well played. It's going to go out honorably by the looks of things. I thought he just clicked on Ysera Awakens there. There we go. He's just going to end the game on his own terms. Surrender is going to be the Asia Pacific Summer Playoff Champion. What a final game, what a final series, and what a tournament overall.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to end a tournament where we've been talking about how one of the most refreshing things is seeing the players play a little bit differently, right? We see
A little bit.
Highlander Priest come up against Big Priest. We see 3 or 4 Aceras in play at all times. We see an endless parade of Emerald Drakes and Laughing Sisters that if they were Nightmares or Awakens, that entire game we would have had a very different story. But congratulations to Cocosasa nonetheless. He's come out with an incredibly innovative strategy, a very risky strategy of leaving Jade Druid up, and he may have taught people 1 or 2 new lessons. But the big story here is, of course, our champion, Surrender, one of the region's real standout players for quite some time now. Finally come good in his home region